Good evening. Today is the 25th day of August 2022. And tonight, on the pursuit of justice, we will be speaking with SGU workers who have been sent home, and simply for the reason that they have been unvaccinated with the COVID vaccines. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, on the pursuit of justice, we do intend to bring the truth to Grenada and seek justice for those who have been unjustly served. With us in studio, we have Mr. Hazzard. We have also Miss Ankeita Moore and Miss Esther Moore. Good evening to you, ladies.
Good afternoon.
Right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, we do invite you to share the program so that the truth will come out. Also, ladies and gentlemen, we do invite you to look at the program and listen to the testimonies of the three persons who are in studio here with us as we pursue justice for all. Mr. Hazzard, how are you, sir?
I am fine, Mr. Maitland.
All right, Mr. Hazzard, it has been a tragedy over the last year or so, as we have had the situation with COVID and the vaccination mandates and so forth. We do understand that many persons have been sent home from their jobs. Not only SGU, but SGU has taken a stand since June 2021. And many Grenadians have spoken about the ills that have come out. Now, we would like to know what are there any updates? What has your life been like since you have been sent home from St. George's University over the last year?
Well, over the last year, it has been very difficult for me not having a job because the company I work with sent me home because of a vaccine.
Mm-hmm. And what has it been like for you, ladies, Miss Ankeita Moore?
To be honest, it has been very, how would I put it, confusing that a company that you have sworn your loyalty and affiliation with for all these years. I've been working with the company for 6 years. And I mean, in a situation like this, I understand at the point in time, there was a demand to protect, but at the end of the day, the right to protect shouldn't oversee the right of persons, and that right has been seriously infringed on, and a lot of people have been quiet about it, and it has really affected myself, my family, my children, in a way that I don't think anybody could really explain or express how that has affected a person and what they truly believe in terms of freedom of rights, freedom of speech, freedom to choose at the end of the day.
Miss Esther Moore, what has life been like for you being sent home from St. George's University over the last year and 2 months?
Thank you, Mr. Maitland, for having me here. Life has been very difficult. Without a monthly salary, one knows what it's like to don't earn a salary at the end of the month. You cannot provide for your family, you cannot pay your bills as you ought to. You have mortgages to pay, you cannot pay your mortgages as you ought to. So life has been very, very difficult.
Thank you for that information, Mr. Hazzard. Persons may simply be saying, why not just take the vaccine and go back to work?
But concerning the vaccine, I am vaccinated at this present time. Yeah. When I realized that there was so much pressure on me, I took the vaccine sometime in November. I then gave all the information to the transportation manager, which he would send to the HR department.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, I had spoke to the manager, who is Mr. Taitt.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me personally that the company has a problem with me because I spoke to the press. So I was wondering whether or not freedom of speech is lawful or unlawful in Grenada, which I do know freedom of speech is lawful, and I could speak about a situation that is presently happening in my life.
So, Mr. Hazzard, just to stop you for a bit, are you saying that you eventually took the vaccine?
I eventually took the vaccine, and I took the vaccine after I got a stroke under pressure. I was rushed to the hospital, special imaging, and then to the general hospital. And I spent a few days in hospital. Mr. Maxwell, who is the transportation manager, he was very kind. With a few other workers, they did come and visit me. I am still looking for a visitation from the human resource manager and the administrator.
So you took the vaccine after being invited by St. George's University to take the vaccine and return to work, and you are still unemployed. Was there a reason given for that?
Yes. Mr. Antoine, who is the human resource manager, told me that I spoke to the press, so the school have a problem with that. So I'm still here without a job. After I've sacrificed and take the vaccine, after there was immense pressure upon me and got a stroke because of the pressure that was put upon me. So I am shocked that now that I'm still here without a job.
That is a very sad situation, Mr. Hazzard. It is clearly an act of terrorism, as the comrade from the Public Workers Union would say, and terrorism would be to use intimidation and not necessarily violence for gain. And that is a sad situation. And based on what you're saying, you took that vaccine last November. Is that correct?
Yes,
last
it is.
November. Are you the only St. George's University worker who would have taken the vaccine and been refused?
Yes, it was two of us from the transportation department that took that vaccine.
There's two of you all. Now I'd like to speak with Ms. Ankeita and Ms. Esther Moore. What were your reasons for not taking the vaccine?
Well, let me first start. My sole reason initially was at the point in time the school was mandating the vaccine. I was pregnant with my daughter at the point in time. And during the period, I think sometime in April, March, thereabout, the school started hosting town hall meetings. And I vividly remember that that is Miss Dr. Oles, who is, I believe, is the president of the university, came on the platform and indicated at a point in time that the AstraZeneca vaccine, he would strongly recommend that pregnant women take the AstraZeneca vaccine, and he encouraged us to take it because he encouraged his daughter-in-law to take it at the point in time. And he went on to give all the reasons why pregnant women at the point in time should take the vaccine. Now, in the event where the school has been holding town hall meetings, that's the TAU, that's the Grenada Technical and Allied Workers Union, also chip in and provide town hall, or not town hall meetings, but meetings where workers can come, and they invited doctors to talk to these workers to encourage them, to sway them to say, okay, why, all the reasons why they should take the vaccine. And in one of these sessions, I spoke to a doctor off record who informed me at the point in time that he would not, well, I should weigh the pros and cons. First of all, he indicated that to me. And he indicated to say that at the point in time the AstraZeneca was being distributed in Grenada, that they have not done thorough tests on pregnant women to say how the AstraZeneca vaccine would affect them. Mind you, prior to those meetings, the Dr. Oles strongly encouraged pregnant women to take it. Now, after that whole session, after hearing what the doctor stated to me, I made a decision. I did my research, and by doing my research, I was not willing to put myself or my unborn child at the point in time in any danger on an experimental drug, and I made the decision at the point in time that I was not going to take the vaccine. There was not sufficient information being provided or accurate information being provided by the persons we're supposed to be hold confidence in, and I made a decision at the point in time that I'm not going to take the vaccine.
And Ms. Esther Moore, what was your reason for not taking the vaccine?
Well, to my consciousness, first of all, the pressure, the mandate, the pressure was it was too much on me. It was like, you know, the force to take the vaccine. Consciously, I find it was like strange. It's like, why are you forcing me? You know, and the pressure, you put in so much of pressure as to forcing me to take the vaccine. And just consciously, you know, we all have our given rights, our feelings, our mind, you know, religiously, you know. And as a God-fearing person, you know, it just didn't hit me at the moment, at the time. I was strongly considering taking the vaccine. But in so thinking of taking the vaccine, we also learn at that given time that anything has to go wrong with you as the individual. Nobody takes responsibility. Nobody takes liability. You know, so it's like I just could not see myself going through that anger. And at the end of the day, if I got sick, nobody being responsible, nobody, you know, is going to look after me. I am the only sole winner of my family. You understand me? So if I do fall sick, everything go down. That's how I was looking at it at the moment. So this is mostly my reason for not taking the vaccine.
All right, thank you to the Moores. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have been joined by Ms. Taitt. Ms. Taitt is also an employee of St. George's University. And Ms. Taitt is here with us to share her story, her testimony as well. Ms. Taitt, what has it been like for you over the last year and 2 months being home?
Well, basically, when it just started off, I already was feeling the pressure. It's hard. I'm a mother of 5. And at the time being sent home by St. George's University, I was pregnant. I and I didn't even know that I was pregnant. With all the stress and the pressure that I was getting from the company, I didn't even know I was pregnant. But by the grace of God, I was guided not to take the vaccine. Because if I take the vaccine and I didn't know that I was already 2 months pregnant, who knows what would have happened to my unborn baby and also me. And for my own health-wise, not even being pregnant, I didn't want to take the risk of taking the vaccine. As Ms. Moore said, she's the breadwinner of her family. Also, I am the breadwinner of my family, my children. I have my children who depends on me solely. And if something was to happen to me, I don't want my children to end up in the system or being abused by anybody. So I weigh the cons, and I realize that taking this vaccine is more risky than the threat and the pressure that we was facing at St. George's University to take that vaccine.
Now, there was a bit of confusion, I would say, as it related to the expectation of the execution of duties by the Ministry of Labor, by the execution of duties of the Prime Minister, the then Prime Minister of Grenada, Dr. Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, who sent out some conflicting messages to the public. And we will in short, we would have a video of the gentleman where he made the statement that no one can force you to take the vaccine. And then eventually there was video of him stating, or the Attorney General, I would say, stating that the vaccine needed to be taken. Now, did this surprise you, Ankeita? Was this a surprise to you?
To be honest, it was a shock to me that a gentleman that the people have elected and placed into power to represent them, to protect the interests at the end of the day, and to hold up the constitution of the country, has failed the country tremendously to give it way and win to allow institutions like St. George's University, to infringe on the rights of the people. Now, I am not saying at the end of the day that the company does not have rights, but at the end of the day, the people's rights also stands. And I think he allowed, a field day to happen, whereby he took a vaccine and he just allowed the institution to do what they want, and nobody to date is taking a stand or even speaking out, because our matter is yet to be resolved and has not been resolved at this point in time.
No one can force you to take the vaccine. No one. I said before, I will not support any law that compels people to vaccinate. That's my philosophical position. Some countries are doing it. Some can say if you ain't get vaccine, you can't get this, and you can. I'm not in that. That's a human responsibility. Protect yourself.
There are some businesses where employers, employees, and customers will be required to present their vaccination status. All businesses where health permits or food handler certificates are required. Employers must present the vaccination status of their employees to be able to open or reopen their businesses. Employees must present their vaccination status to be able to discharge their duties at those businesses. The businesses in question includes restaurants, hotels, guest houses, bars, and those in the beautification industry, so your barbers, your hairdressers, your spas, and such other businesses with that requirement.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, there was no law that was passed for any person in Grenada to be vaccinated. In fact, as we have clearly heard, the then Attorney General, Ms. Dia Forrester, mentioned a few professions: barbers, hairdressers, manicurists, pedicurists, the food industry. Now, St. George's University does not fall under such category. Now, is anyone in studio know? Was anyone a hairdresser?
No.
What about a barber?
No.
Anyone here was in the food industry?
No.
Now, it is clear to see, ladies and gentlemen, it is clear to see, regardless of the debates whether the unconstitutional regulations that were passed, if they are a law or if they mandated anything, there was nothing for the workers of St. George's University. We are dealing with an outside entity that came into the boundaries of Grenada and disregarded our constitution. It disregarded the employment rights and constitutional rights of the persons that you can clearly see sitting here with us tonight. And ladies and gentlemen, for this reason, we as Grenadians who continue to speak of patriotism must take up the challenge of standing for our brothers and sisters, not only in events where we see non-nationals in scuffles or fights with our Grenadian people, but in situations like these. Ladies and gentlemen, I do urge you to use the same priorities and energies to end the victimization of the workers at SGU and the call centers and all other entities that would have sent home workers as a result of them not taking an experimental drug. Now, what I would say, Mr. Hazzard, you spoke of getting a heart attack, getting a stroke. Now, I would like you to elaborate on that some more. When did this happen? What caused it? What was your state of mind? How did you feel?
I was in a lot of pain knowing that I have to take a vaccine, put something in my body that I don't want to do. The other thing is that I have problems with my blood pressure, and I'm on medication for blood pressure many years ago. So with that and the pressure to take the vaccine, it was intensive. It was difficult for me. And that's why I believe I end up getting a mini stroke. And I thank God, as a minister of religion, I thank God tonight that I'm alive still. I thank God that I'm still in the land of the living and I still have my being because of God. That's why I'm alive today. I also want to recognize the Trinity tonight. I didn't do that at first, but I want to recognize God tonight because He is supreme being. He's Almighty God. And I believe that tonight is the night that we workers that is sent home from St. George's University, especially those of us who took the vaccine, will receive exactly what we're supposed to receive. Because I believe that we deserve to work. We deserve to work and earn our bread and take care of our families. And this is one of the reasons today why my 30 years marriage ended. Because it's that right there. I could not pay for a vehicle like I used to pay for my wife and ex-wife, and some things went on. And that's why at 30 years of marriage, it hurt me very much. I mean, I just cannot cry. The tears are just not getting why I'm crying. Deep inside, I'm hurting, I'm crying. What SG would have done. You know, I did take a vaccine, and after I take a vaccine, was supposed to go back to work. You, the employer, turned to me and tell me I spoke to the press. Freedom of speech in Grenada is lawful. Each and every citizen has the right to speak on whatever they are going through without violating the rights of others. I did not violate the right of SGU. I said, definitely, my speech was that what they do us, they will pay, and they have to pay us. And because of all the things that we went through, I showed that there would be some action that will be taken against St. George's University coming soon. So I just say thanks to the listeners, those who are listening now, whether it's regional, international. I just want them to see our plea tonight. And I also would like the companies in Grenada to come out and seek out with these people that have lost their job in that kind of a way. This is not supposed to be. This is against human rights. And I hope this thing could reach some human rights body some way, and that we can be taken care of and we can be properly treated. We have been treated like dogs, or even worse than dogs. And that's not supposed to be. We are treated like animals. But I say thank God for life. And I'm saying to you, St. George's University, tonight is the night when this will stop. Because there is a man I know whose name is the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah. He's going to fight for the same thing. Thank you very much.
Now, I want to commend you all. And we do have, of course, in the chat, we have Mr. Roger Mason, who has also worked at St. George's University and was sent home as well because he was not vaccinated. There's Nurse Karen Jolly, a pleasant good night to you. Neylon, and everyone else in the chat. Shami and Ragba Singh, good night. We have Chris Blair, and we also have Ramon, a very good friend of mine. I want to say good night to you all. We have Barbie Queen as well. Good night to you. Now, the thing is, I want to commend you all for standing together, for something that is significant to the Grenadian people, the rights of the Grenadian people, the right to work, the right to not be treated basically like a dog, like you said, Mr. Hazzard. Right? Now, because of you guys, I can guarantee that this vaccination mandates was stopped at many businesses, because many business places would have believed that it would have been a simple walk over. And what you have done would have accomplished strength and unity, and to show that the Grenadian people, or some of the Grenadian people, would not accept oppression victimization. And a substance that has not, even today, on the 25th day of August 2022, the Grenadian government has not independently tested the vaccine. It has not proven that the vaccine is doing what it has been advertised to do. In fact, we have doctors, medical doctors, such as Dr. Richard Amelin, who worked at St. George's University. He left his profession, his high-paying job at the St. George's University, and returned to America because he decided that he was not going to take the said vaccine. We have doctors such as Dr. Peter McCullough, who has been educating us consistently over the period that this vaccination has shown significant increases in the number of cardiac arrest of children. Now, Ms. Taitt, we would definitely like to hear from you. We have seen you on the news, and I believe the first time I would have seen you on the news was standing outside of St. George's University. Were you the one with the banner on the head, the bandana? Were you that first one?
Yes.
Right? And you were very loud, you were very clear, and we would like to hear from you tonight. And I want to say to y'all, sometimes we may not win the way that we want to win or expect to win, but I believe that it has been a win. Although there is a lot of pressure, our brother here has suffered cardiac arrest because he was forced by his employer to take an experimental drug. But we have won. We have ended this madness. We have ended it here in Grenada. Now, even in Barbados at this time, persons are still being forced to wear masks, right? Now, Ms. Taitt, please, let us hear from you. What would you like to say to the public? What would you like to say to St. George's University?
Well, with this opportunity given to me here, I would not just like to address the public on St. George's University, I would also like to address our union. So first I will address St. George's University. I don't know what deal or what paper has been signed behind the public back that gives St. George's University the rights to stamp on our constitutional rights and make us know that it does not matter. And I also want to give to the public to let them know it is right to stand for your right and what you believe is right and truth in your eyes and in the eyes of God. You need to stand not just about this COVID-19, but any other situation in any other area in your life. You need to stand and make a firm stand for it. The minute you give way to oppression, victimization, then you give way to any other thing in your life and in this country. And I also want to address our union. I want to address our union and ask them to use the power that was given to them to represent this country and the people of it with the constitutional rights and use that to fight for our rights, not just when it benefits them, for they look good in the media, and not when the people who they're fighting against is not their friend, but even when it's their friend. The union that we will represent us, to me personally, I'm speaking on my behalf, I don't know where they're coming from. I don't know what ground they are fighting on. I don't know if they're following the same labor code and things that's put in place for Grenadians to represent us in a situation like this. But we've been bamboozled, run around the bush, beat around the bush, and basically because most of us Grenadians do not know our law, we do not know the rights, we're not equipped and armed with these things. So they take that opportunity to help to have us like headless chicken. and some of the statements that they made to us from those people who was put in place to represent those people who we paid for. Some people paid 30, 40, 20 years, 9 years, 6 years to represent us. When it came to a situation where we needed that representation, it was never found. Statement was made to us in the last meeting that we had with the union, statement that was downgrading, disrespectful, and belittling, such as the union was going to have this meeting with the new commissioner of labor and all of this thing, because as you know, the election came and there was a change around of all these heads and body of people. So the union was going to go in front of these people with some matter that they made clear that it wasn't just our matter, our issue with St. George's University, was a number of issues, which our matter will be one of that matter raised. One of our union representatives make a statement that the lawyer / prime minister, who said that they did not do a good job in the first place to begin with to represent us, now that he is the prime minister, let them see what he's going to do for us, our union representative in that meeting. That was one of the statements that was made. Since that he said that he cares so much about us, now that he has the opportunity, he's no longer the lawyer, he's now our prime minister, let them see what he will do for the people that he cares so much about. And these are the smart, nasty comments we get from our union representative. Our union representative failed us from day one. From day one. We do not know the reason why. We do not know if money is in it, if his brand is in it, if his popularity is in it. We've been bamboozled and fooled and beat around the bush from day one. And we, the people of Grenada, had enough of it. We pay these union people to represent us, and we need them to do just that, represent the workers from St. George's University. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I'll move over to Miss Esther Moore. We would like to hear from you all. We don't have much time. I know there's much that has occurred over the past year. And in this short time, the trials and tribulations that you all would have faced as a result of being sent home by a foreign company in your country, a country where your constitutional rights should be honored mostly. We would like to hear from you, Ms. Moore.
Okay. We have so much to say. There is so much we can say. There is so much to say concerning that whole vaccine mandate. It's like, you want to say so much that you don't even know where to start. Really and truly, as the sister says, we've been bamboozled by the union as a representative from day one, because out of all the meetings that were held during the mandate and the meeting from the school back and forth, the union has said to us after the 15th of June came, the union has said to us, do not go down at the gate. So we were locked out. We couldn't report to work because the information was that once the 15 reach, nobody enters once you're unvaccinated. So a few of us did not adhere to the union. So on that day, we still reported to work. And from that day, we continued to report to work. But the first day, the union said not to report at the gate. Many workers still came and report at the gate. And it was strange to us during their meeting with the school and the said lawyer. It was said that our presentation at the gate were able to come back and stand as a form of reference to say when the present Prime Minister, which was then the lawyer, says the workers did not go to the workers did not go to work, didn't turn out to work. Because the school gave them the opportunity, and the school gave them the opportunity to take the vaccine, and because of that reason, they did not report to work. And the union had that information to say the workers did report to work, right? So we are dealing with a lot of conflict here. during that whole process of the vaccine, right? We see persons take the vaccine. We see persons take the vaccine and got so ill after the vaccine, even though persons had their medical issue. I know for one, but I had a medical issue, right? I'm anemic, number one, and other issues, right? But not knowing all of the other issues, you have persons who knew they have medical issues. Some did not know they had medical issues or trace from family lines. And as a result of taking the vaccine, if a lot of things come out from persons, make them very, very ill, and you seeing that as an individual, it's very scary. It's very scary. So to the many Grenadians who has not taken the vaccine yet, should really still give it thoughts and still look into these areas of taking the vaccine. What else to say concerning my situation?
And Miss Moore, whilst you're at it, I would like to say that I definitely do understand where you're coming from. We have seen over the period where videos have been circulated or were circulated from SGU, where persons would have taken the vaccine and fainted on the campus almost instantaneously. The concern is justifiable. There was also a young lady from the St. Andrew area who would have taken the vaccine. She worked at one of those elderly homes in the area, and she almost, according to her, she almost died. 3 weeks, she felt like that was it, and she was eventually sent home because she was so scared after taking the vaccine. She was so scared she could not take the second one, and she was still sent home. But please, Ms. Moore, continue.
Yes. Right. So we have held, the union have held many meetings with us concerning the vaccine. And we have seen time and time again that what they are doing is not in our interest. As the sister said, we don't know if they get paid to do such or what is the issue, but we have been run around, we have been fooled around. The last time we held a meeting, they said that they was going to meet with the Minister of Labor, new Minister of Labor. Let's see what will happen with the new Prime Minister. When we call back, they give us a couple of days for to sort out such a information. When persons call back, maybe a few days after, a week after, the information came back to the workers and said things remain the same. And lo and behold, one of the sharp strokes has made it clear to us that the union did not go to have any meeting with the ministers as they would have told us, right? So it's very frustrating. We are disappointed. We are disappointed by our administrator or representative, right? And we hope that some closure, right? Because we didn't have to be here at the moment. If whether the school or the union would have sit together and come to some sort of arrangement, we would not have been here speaking out, because persons would have realized, and I realized and know that once you speak out against SGU, you have been victimized, you have been discriminated, and it's like the public. Remember, everybody has a right to their own opinion. Everybody has a right to their own decision. So if I choose not to take the vaccine for whatever reason, I don't see why the public should discriminate me, or because it's a big entity we're working for, you look at me as so small that you figure that my rights I should not have the right to speak against or an institute that is so massive in the country, right? I should just do as they say. And this is not a good sign. It's not a good for the generation coming up. I don't know what. This is not a good picture. This isn't a good picture for our generation, my grandchildren. I cannot say to my grandchildren, when somebody speak to you, or when something is not right and it's being thrown at you, just take it. Just open your hands and take it. Our forbearance teachers, there is an old saying, our forbearance teachers, what you have to stoop to conquer, but not in this manner. It was not in this manner. I don't think it's right.
Right. Thank you, Ms. Moore. I think Ms. Taitt wanted to add something to that.
Again, everything Ms. Moore said, that's very correct. Also, the situation, listen, I'm very, very disappointed with the union. Very disappointed with the union that is representing us. From day one, as I was saying, from day one, we had not proper representation. As the union said, open their own mouth and say in a meeting that our Prime Minister / lawyer said that they did not represent us. Now that he's in power, they didn't see what he's going to do for the people he loves. The union have a position and a right to represent the people of Grenada to the best of their ability. No bias, no culture, no race, no creed, no status should be in that. And for the union to look at us and ask the question, how did St. George's University violate that constitutional rights that we don't have? They basically are saying like, okay, you have the right to work. So we are saying that they were saying, okay, it's not like we have to work with that company. So you see the corruption that is in the system and the places with people, the vulnerable people of Grenada, Carrick-on-Petit Maitland, have to depend on, especially the poor people of Carrick-on-Petit Maitland, have to depend on these different entities and these different places. And these places are hand tied up and bound up and in corruption and in politics and in this, and for whatever reason, that statement was made to us. So the question I wanted to ask anybody else, anybody who knows the law better than me, if a company is based on that, like how the union is based on representing the people by women, the rules and regulations of Grenada, and when the situation occurs for you to get represented from that country, you are not being represented properly, disrespect is making to you, belittle is making to you, and they treat you like nobody. So I want to know if the union made a statement in a meeting that the labor code is not working, why are they based and open and running on that labor code? Is the union a scam? So I just called until I come to St. George's University for the injustice, the victimization by speaking out something me personally experienced. It's me speaking out and being so out there speaking on the victimization that we're facing St. George's University. I was victimized. I was pregnant, and you were telling me on the 15th of June, I found that I was pregnant. I informed the union that I was pregnant. The union informed St. George's University. Because I spoke out, I was the only one out of the numerous number of women who was pregnant and got an extension, who was receiving a salary from St. George's University that did not receive my full pay. They only paid me for 5 months of my pregnancy because of me speaking out on media.
One second, I want you to repeat that, please. I wanted to repeat that you were the only.
Yes.
Go ahead, repeat that.
I was pregnant on the 15th of June. We were sent home because of all the stress and the force that we was facing in St. George's University. Me even going to work and breaking it down. I didn't even realize that I was pregnant because the pregnancy symptoms came like stress. I didn't realize. When I realized that I was pregnant, I made the union know that I was pregnant. The union then informed St. George's University. St. George's University asked me to go on medical to prove that maybe I'm pregnant. I don't know what the reason. So I gave the university that information. Based on receiving that information, I still did not even get paid for the month that I bring in that information. They only paid me for 5 months. There were other people employed by the company who was pregnant, who was sent home by the exemption of pregnancy, received a 9 months salary for being home and a 3 months maternity leave. I did not receive my full pay by being home. It was a form of victimization. I know it. When I called the union, they know the union did nothing about it. They just called the school and the school say it's based on when you bring your paper, and that was it. No assistance from the union on that matter. St. George University is a place that if you speak out, they were victim. Even if it's in the school, like with all this whole vaccination thing, if you speak out and stand up for your right, you will be victimized. You will be pressured, maybe into leaving the work for yourself. They will send people on your back, you'll be cornered. So know that this whole thing came out, they give them more strength, more power, and to work on a bigger scale. You understand? So I want to ask any lawyer, anybody out there, again, I'll repeat my same question. If you are paying someone to represent you, and upon that, when you need that representation, the things that a person has in place to say to represent you, they say it does not work. The labor code does not work. The constitutional rights of people that does not work. I want to know, and I'm calling to the union, if they cannot use what is put in place to have them there at a company, I want to know if there are scams.
Now, I'd like to read this comment from Melvin Houtin, who is viewing. He says, slavery isn't finished in Grenada. St. George's University is the government of Grenada. Rome inside of Italy. It's a country with a country. Now, and it clearly seems that way. It clearly seems that way. And I would like you to get those answers as well. We have a caller. We have a caller on the line. Let's take that caller and then we go to Ms. Ankeita, please. Caller, good night to you. You're live.
Yeah, I see the workers in LSU at least willing to stand up to do something for themselves. I believe they're playing around with this thing. Because the Supreme Court of America rule against this thing, which LSU is supposed to fall under the Constitution of America. The only constitution out of all the constitution the OECS is Grenada Constitution that they have a right to work. And if the government and everybody is lifting the mandate, how they applying it to our people still? So, which meaning LSU is within their own laws and constitution for Grenada, and the Grenada Constitution don't matter to them. And the unions and the legal fraternity in Grenada and everybody just turn a blind eye with that and focusing on a battle with Trinidad and Grenada instead of dealing with these issues. These issues are more important because one girl, I think, committed suicide already, right? So it's time something happened and these workers and them should put back into the job. It is happening in America. There's a case going on right now of crime against humanity in the international court. I think the University of Denver, one of them right now, have to pay over $10 million for the same thing as you doing to workers here. Why it is still happening in Grenada? Are we talking about emancipation?
Thank you, caller. Points well received. Points taken. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now we have a comment from Miss Louise Nayak Francois, and she says, please read the above on the millions won by USA Health employees who were dismissed for not taking the job. It may throw some light on steps that Grenada's, as you dismissed workers, may be able to take. And we thank you for that, Miss Louise Francois, and you are very correct. Now, persons who are viewing, I do invite you to look at the links and do your research as well, and you would see that this information is correct. As the previous caller said, why is it that in Grenada, 1 year and 2 months after, this plight, this struggle, this oppression, this victimization continues? Now, we would like to hear from Ms. Ankeita at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Maitland. So I stand on the statements and opinions and views of my colleagues that one, victimization is live and well in Grenada, because in our situation, and likewise with other companies, other workers would have been let off work because they too have taken a stand not to take a vaccine or an experimental vaccine. And it is in all rights, whether their right to take and other person's right not to take, to make a decision at the end of the day. Now, victimization, when I say is live and well, we as Grenadians encourage it, because if I decide not to take a vaccine at the end of the day, I am not just discriminated by the employer who have mandated me to take a vaccine against my will, but I'm also victimized by my colleagues or my workers, my countrymen, to say what happened to her, why should I just take the vaccine and go back to work? When do we become heartless as people? When do we become this type of people? Because at the end of the day, if I should be able to respect your choice to take a vaccine and not discriminate you or victimize you at the end of the day. And likewise, I should expect you to respect my choice not to take a vaccine and to be discriminated for a choice that I make. But my choice to not to take a vaccine is supported constitutionally. And we have developed this attitude and mentality that if your opinion or views doesn't align with mine, then you're an outcast, you're a problem child in society. That is why a lot of us in society are scared to come out and give our views and opinions, because of the victimization and targeting, whether you're targeted by your peers, your family. Look at this. A mandate that caused the breakup of marriages, brother and sister, friend against friend, because of an opinion or views that you have taken the vaccine, and that is all your choice, that you have your right to make a choice to take a vaccine. And likewise, if I decide not to take a vaccine, my choice should be respected at the end of the day. But you have in our society where we are being victimized because we take a stand against unjust, or we take a stand against injustice at the end of the day. And because we take a stand against injustice, take it, for example, Mr. Hazzard. He has taken the vaccine after experiencing extreme pressure. And he has still to date is without a job. Why? Because he has taken a stand against injustice. Why are we encouraging these type of things in our society? There is a lot of people in our societies who have been affected directly and indirectly by this vaccine mandate. And it's only because, not to say we don't have people affected enough, it's only because of the victimization that I will be targeted if I speak out against this situation. Persons are not coming out to speak. I have been quiet for all these years, right? I am not a public person, but right is right, wrong is wrong. And we as a people need to accept and understand that at the end of the day, and that's the only how we will be able to move forward as a country. During the election process, I have never in my life heard my rights and constitutional rights matter up until that point of election where all candidates is preaching and singing your constitutional rights matter. But where was these people when these workers was being victimized by this employer and many other employers in our society? Where were they singing our constitutional rights matter? Grenadians, my people, my brothers, my sisters, we need to come to the realization our anthem states, together we stand as one people. Let us not let the wolf separate the sheep. We are together. We need to support each other. The thing that hurt me the most is that when the gentleman in America was killed by the police officer, a group of people came out by the embassy in Chublu in Lansapine, and they protest. Your brothers and sisters is being victimized, is being withheld, is being held ransom. Our right is being held ransom, and nobody, because of fear of victimization, is coming out to support and take a stand. I make a plea to my brothers and sisters that we ought to take a stand today, because we are not setting a good foundation for our children to come. Let us look back. If our ancestors did not take that stand for the rights we are entitled to today, we would have still been in slavery. So let us today take a stand for the future of our children, because if we do not do it today, we are not setting a good future for our children. I have two kids. I have a boy and a girl. I don't want them in the future to be told what to do when they have a right at the end of the day to make a decision what to do. I will not sit back to let society say you have to be a criminal because that is how we want you to be. They have a choice at the end of the day. They have a choice. They have a right to choose at the end of the day. And if we do not take that stand today, if we do not speak out today, if we do not say to the people in authorities our right, our constitutional right matter, we will always be victim of our constitutional right because we do not know our constitutional right at the end of the day. So what I would like to say to my brothers and sisters, stand with us. Stand with us. You don't have to share the opinion and views of our why we didn't take the vaccine, right? But at the end of the day, we are saying the rights of the people matter. Because it may not be this situation, it might be something else. And you would want somebody to stand with you because of your right being infringed on. Let us stand together because that is the only how we can move forward. The word that has been chanted, forward ever, backward never. What does that mean to you? What does that mean to us? And if we are able to anchor in forward ever, backward never, we will take a stand to ensure that we go forward together and we do not go back into slavery where we submit and continue to submit because we are told to do something.
Thank you. Thank you. Well said. Well said. Right. Now, Mr. Hazzard, I know there's something that you wanted to.
I'm not seeing me.
Yeah, that you wanted to say as well. And we're almost out of time.
Okay, good afternoon again to all the listeners. One of the things that I heard that the St. George's University is alleged that they have workers from creative design who's at vaccine, that they open the back gate at the university for to go in, while they would have at least 17 workers on the outside, and you're allowing people that is not vaccinated to go into the compound to do your work. This is wrong. If it's true, this is wrong. And this must cease today. So if there is any unvaccinated persons from tomorrow, please allow, they should not be going into the compound because you have workers suffering on the outside. You all have done enough to me. There are several things that you have done to me, and I'm appealing even to the President of the United States that we workers should be paid. We need to make a call to the Prime Minister, let him know what we are going through presently. My van wheel was locked up on the campus sometime last year. And this happened, and I'm still asking myself why this had to happen. I don't know what was displayed, what was said to the security, came in from the ocean, tired. When I was sent and called by the head of security out from the boat, so I came down from the boat. When I came down from the boat, my vehicle was clamped by the St. George's University. I spoke to Mr. Babiak and I spoke to one named Nigel. I asked why my vehicle was clamped. I think it was Nigel that said, you have problem with somebody inside the university. So I said to him, I have no problem with anybody. But based on statement he made, I told him that whatever situation I was going through, which I had a situation, formal situation, that is personal, and that this does not have anything to do with St. George's University. I also realized that they put up a picture at the campus gate, and it was stating on the picture, banned from campus. Now, I did not do anything on campus. Now, basically, when somebody has commit a crime on campus, the university will put up a picture of that person because they did something wrong. I have not done anything wrong in St. George's University. I normally go on the beach to fish. And for example, even the very fishermen, there are a lot of fishermen who are not vaccinated, who they are allowing inside the campus. Also, the road to the back, this is the road that leads to the beach. All beaches in Grenada is open to every citizen. Nobody can stop them from going to the beach. And it's a practice St. George's University is practicing a long time ago, and this must stop. Once somebody want to go to the beach, there is an other road to the beach, and they must be let in to go on the beach. If they want to park their vehicle on the campus down at that area where the boats park, they have a right to do that. This must stop. You know, because of my picture that was placed up there, you know, people meeting me and tell me, you beat your wife, what going on? Something happened. I said, what? And I told them, I said, look, man, I'm a minister of the gospel. I never lay hands on my wife who I love, not even once. So I don't know where this thing is coming from. So definitely there is definition of character. The school has spoiled my character because people have been saying a lot of wicked things concerning me, which is not true. I appealing to St. George's University to fix this. I reach so far that I will appeal to the President of the United States to step in this thing, what we are going through right now, because it's too much of pain, too much of hurt. You just imagine, you have people that is unvaccinated from a company coming and work for you. You allow them to come inside and work. And you have workers who are even vaccinated, and you have them out of their job. No, I don't. Listen, let's say you all decide not to pay me for the time that I did not take the vaccine, but have taken the vaccine. So therefore, I entitled to a salary from November since I've taken the vaccine. I'm supposed to be paid for this immediately. St. George's University, God is watching you. And personally, I do not know how some of the heads at the St. George's University is sleeping at night. They treat me so bad when I was sick. Only manager that came and looked for me in the hospital, it was Mr. Maxwell. He's a good man. He's a good man. He brought drinks, he brought other things to me, and I really appreciate him for that. And the pressure of putting me to take this vaccine, the pressure was put on me, and no, it's not him. Because the authorities was putting pressure on him, so he had to do that to us today. And that's why I go through all this pressure and went through a mini stroke. But because of God, I survived it. But the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah is after you, SGU. Is not Neylon Hazzard. And the conquering lion is coming in all his glory to judge the wicked for unrighteousness and for treating good people like that. I have many certificates from you all that you've given to me, saying that Mr. Hazzard, your performance is great. Mr. Hazzard, you're doing well. Yeah? And it can be shown to you. You have refused to give me my raise of pay after I became permanent with your company. Yeah? And then we have a constitution which was signed by you and the union, stating that a worker is due to receive 80% of his salary, and when he became permanent, he received his 100%. So you're saying to me in a letter that you start me with permanent salary. So I was permanent from the time I began, for the time I start my duty. Stop this, SGU. Stop causing all this pain upon us, because judgment is coming to you and not from me. The judgment of God is upon you all. And I believe that if you all continue that road, that this license that you all have to operate on the spice side, it would be revoked. So please stop it right now. Please stop it. And I thank you very much for my salary and all the others who was home for the past year and 2 months, that they will be paid their money because we was unlawfully sent home. If Grenada, if the law of Grenada had commanded us through parliament to take a vaccine, then every man had to take that vaccine. But SGU is not the government of Grenada. SGU is a company that has a business here. And tonight I want every person, local, international, regional, to hear my voice and to see what else you have done to us as poor working class people who want to work to own a bread and take care of our children. God bless you.
Right. And for those of you who would have joined late and who will be watching the program after, now Mr. Hazzard here, that sits with us right here, is one of two St. George's University workers who would have taken the vaccine, both vaccines, after being invited by the St. George's University for the workers to take the vaccine and then begin work again, be accepted to campus. Now, since November, when the invitation was extended for the staff to take the vaccine, based on the struggles Mr. Hazzard faced, he took the vaccine. And according to Mr. Hazzard, he was told by St. George's University that he will not be returning to work because he spoke to the media. A constitutional right of freedom of expression. Now, the brother and sisters inside of here, Roger Mason, Margaret Bascom, who is looking on Facebook, she has said, remember the workers of Radisson as well. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is not only St. George's University. There are workers in call centers, hotels, and other places in Grenada, restaurants, lawyers' offices, who was sent home because of this COVID vaccine. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point in time, I call on Mr. Anselm Clouden. Mr. Clouden was seen many times on various local programs and social media programs as an attorney who said to the people who viewed that he and the Bar Association of Grenada was willing and capable and ready to take on the struggles of workers such as the workers that you are looking at here right now. Mr. Hazzard, Miss Taitt, Miss Moore, and Miss Moore. Now, to date, we cannot hear or see any representation from Mr. Anselm Clouden. Mr. Clouden, where are you? Where are you and the Bar Association that went on GBN and MTV and Ride Along and said that you all are ready to take on employers who are taking away the constitutional rights of our Grenadian people over an experimental vaccine that only came out in the same year, 2020. 2020, this vaccine, this substance came out. How are we to expect that our Grenadian people, free people with constitutional rights, will just digest this and take the substance when clearly we have all seen persons fainting in SGU? As a matter of fact, if you all may recall, ladies and gentlemen, and I believe I made a blunder, that vaccine would have come out late 2020, early 2021. Now, as I recall, and you would recall, ladies and gentlemen, there were many persons last year falling down in Grenada. Unfortunately, they are not with us at this time. But remember, there were persons who fell in the streets of Grenville, in the streets of St. George's, right in front of the Esplanade Mall. Is it the Esplanade? No. Is it the Esplanade Mall? Bruce Street Mall. The Ministry of Health still has not told us what has caused it. Now, we have limited time, and we would like to hear from Ms. Taitt. Ms. Taitt has something to say, and then Ms. Ankeita Moore, Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Maitland. I want to use this opportunity to call out to the authority, the right authority, to look into this matter and bring an end to this. I also want to call it to our Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Dickon Mitchell. He advocates strongly against victimization and slavery and all these things. So I want to use this opportunity to ask him to please hear the cry of Grenadians. Please bring an end to victimization and the victimization that we are personally facing from St. George's University and many other companies within Grenada, Carriacou, and Peter Magnet. Prime Minister Honorable Dickon Mitchell, hear the cry of your people. You advocate strongly against what is happening to us. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Ankeita, please go ahead.
Right. The two things I would like my countrymen to know, right? We have all been affected by COVID, whether directly or indirectly. The vaccinated persons have been, a lot of persons who are vaccinated have caught COVID despite they are vaccinated. Likewise, persons who are not vaccinated have also caught COVID. But thank God, these persons did not die. The question I want us to ask our authorities is who is collecting the data of the persons who have been affected directly after taking the vaccines? Who is collecting the data that shows and states how it has or how COVID have affected us as a country? Or why are we continuing to take the data of other countries? There's supposed to be a task force in place collecting the data of the affected persons in our society, and likewise the data. You cannot tell me if we all come together, the vaccinated and the unvaccinated, and we come together and we compare our notes to say, how has COVID affected you? I am 100% certain that the similarities and the symptoms and the experience we have all experienced are the same. What I want y'all to know too, during the time of after having my baby, SGU have placed extreme pressure on me. As Mr. Maitland said, unfortunately for one young lady, she took her life, she committed suicide. During my maternity leave, SGU have bombarded me continuously, constantly telling me about vaccination, and I suffered an emotional breakdown. I thank God that I had the support system around me, that I did not commit suicide, but I went through an emotional trauma that I even thought of committing suicide because of the extreme pressure that has been placed on me by St. George's University. But I thank God for the support that I had around me, that I did not went that route. But unfortunately, for some people in our society, they didn't have no way out, they didn't have the support, and they felt the only way out under this pressure was to take their lives. My people, stand together as one. Forward ever, backward never. Let us stand today for the rights we hold today and the rights of our children in the future.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, we will be keeping you updated as time goes on, as we do intend to escalate the pushback on the oppression that has occurred since June, since the inception of this introduction of COVID experimental drug. As Ms. Ankeita Moore has rightfully said, many persons, even those who have been vaccinated, would have perished. They would have contracted COVID-19. Now, there are many things that concerns us, such as the dates for quarantine and the incubation period and so forth. But ladies and gentlemen, we will be back next week, and we will keep you updated. And we do say to the new Minister of Labor, the new administration, Please expect us on your doorsteps very soon. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This has been the Pursuit of Justice for the 25th day of August 2020. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, we do expect that you would stand on the right side, on the side of justice, on the side of our workers. Not only the St. George's University workers who have been sent home, not only the Radisson workers, the healthcare workers, the supermarket workers, the barbers, the hairdressers, and every person that has been victimized throughout this period. But on behalf of everyone who is now experiencing injustice, let us remember Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, in the struggles, in the times in past, when these gentlemen took different approaches, masters of the approaches they took. We are now able to sit in restaurants with persons of all races. We are no longer treated as dogs, drinking water out of taps at the side of the streets, or using bathrooms and toilets that has colored marked on it. We do not want a repetition of such history, ladies and gentlemen. And as Roger has said, if we continue to remain silent, we are headed to a destination of doom, ladies and gentlemen. When our rights are being violated and we allow it to continue, more and more rights will continue to be violated. Once again, thank you to the unvaccinated workers for standing for the Constitution and the rights of all Grenadians. The workers at Radisson and so forth, thank you kindly. This has been the Pursuit of Justice, and we will keep you updated as we meet with the Labor Commissioner first, Ms. Claudette Joseph, Senator, the Honorable Claudette Joseph, and we will keep you updated by next week. Thank you kindly. God bless. This has been, ladies and gentlemen, the Pursuit of Justice. Mr. Hazzard, Ms. Taitt, Ms. Moore, thank you for being here. We do appreciate you and we wish you all the best.